My sibling asserted my enterprise triumph as her personal and requested 27% earnings, but I presented the invoices and her grins broke immediately. All regarding that weekend meal was intended to impress, each blossom organized, each grin practiced. However, even prior to I observed the packet adjacent to my father's dish, I detected the sly sparkle in Emily's gaze, the identical one she'd possessed since we were children, as she virtually hummed with enthusiasm. "I am thrilled that you arrived, Monica." With an atypically persistent palm on my spine, Mother guides me to the eating area where weekend cuisine is awaiting. The furniture is extremely beautiful, as anticipated, displaying new blooms as the focal point, Mother's best porcelain, and the glass goblets that are saved for unique events. Whatever it is, they've definitely invested a lot of consideration into it. Emily, whose grin recalls a recollection of the period she was 8 years old, and observed that I was going to step on the prank pad she had concealed under my seat pad, is positioned opposite from me as customary. My father skillfully slices the cooked meat as Mother distributes the accompaniments of crushed spuds, string legumes, and those soft buns that have been a preferred of mine since I was a child. At that instant, I detect it. Positioned just underneath Father's cloth, a beige packet rests nestled next to his dish. My stomach senses tightened. "The wellness facility is performing well, right?" Mother inquires, her tone made to sound more animated. "Are you still investing those crazy periods?" Trade is lively. As I watch Father's quick ocular shift toward the dossier, I choose for a direct reply. "This period, we experienced a 22% increase in our client volume." Emily emits a small sniff. There were so many individuals in the holding space, but it was so tiny. "Your office administration may require an enhancement, sincerely." In my thoughts, everything connects together. Something I'd prefer not decipher. After emptying his esophagus, Father places his utensil down on the elegant porcelain with a purposeful chime. "Our ideas have been with your medical center's prospects, Monica." As the repast transforms to mush in my oral cavity, I halt chewing in the center. Mother intervenes with simplicity, as if they've rehearsed this. "My dear, kin enterprises need kin guidance. Your father and I have been discussing methods to guarantee the ongoing exercise of restorative palms within your kin. I state this with considerable caution. It is not a kin enterprise. I assembled it by myself with our assistants," Father states, his palm sliding to the dossier. On top of that, Emily has devised a wonderful suggestion that will be beneficial for everyone. With a demeanor of almost strutting, my sibling erects herself in her seat. "In order to assume control as supervisor of your operation, I have created a plan. I'd handle the monotonous documents so you can focus on the clients." Tilting ahead, her gaze gleams. "Considering all the expansion I'll deliver, my appeal for a 27% earnings portion is truly reasonable. My auditory organs are buzzing with my pulse. This is no regular weekend banquet, it's an ambush." Abrupt recollections follow. Laboring 2 periods in the medical facility eatery, while I was a rehabilitation specialist learner, permitted me to dispatch funds home to aid Emily while she maneuvered her initial year of university. And I endured on noodles in a minuscule dwelling, equipped with objects I discovered on the sidewalk. After 14 hours of medical rotations, learners spend the evening examining. I still possess $193,000 in educational debts, and they withdraw funds out of my financial account every month. Astonishingly, I reference that I already possess a medical center supervisor. Emily, in opposition to Mother's patronizing gesture of the palm, is an genuine individual's individual. Do you remember how she impressed Physician Patel during the magnificent initiation of your medical center? He compensated you barely any attention at all. The particulars are recent in my thoughts, comparable to how I recollect my father rejecting me my scholarly honors upon my completion. Operations are not constructed on intellectual intelligence. Monica, we were capturing images of Emily in our identical robes and hats. During the warm season of 2016, Emily labored as a provisional reception aide, which resulted in her fraternity comrades obtaining unlawful reductions. After her timetabling errors induced some clients to have to linger hours or even be rejected, I expended weeks expressing regret to them. "Is it feasible for me to examine your schemes?" "Yes, I do," indicating toward the document cabinet. With a satisfied smirk on his visage, Father glides it across the furniture. "My lawyer has already composed it. Totally require your approval." "Yes, Perhaps tomorrow would be a fine day to commence." Emily emits a noisy applause. If you desire me to refurbish your workspace, I have concepts already. After consuming a gradual sip of liquid, I cautiously position the goblet back on its mat. I meticulously recover my own satchel that is supported up next to my seat. I believe you should examine this before we proceed discussing about it. I perceive a snap that resembles a firearm discharge as I unfasten my satchel in the subsequent heavy silence. I extract a hide binder, the costly one I indulged myself to after endorsing an agreement with Denver Athletics Medicine, and my father's confident smirk falters. The binder functions as an understated memento of the achievements I've had without their aid. Recognize this. A male accustomed to astonishments has a minor quiver in father's tone. As she anxiously glances between her spouse and Emily, mother twists with her cloth and her digits. Emily's previously victorious grin begins to diminish as I painstakingly arrange out my documents on the furniture, aligning each segment with the precision I utilize to my client's therapy agendas. My pact with Colorado Medical Partners for Administration Services was signed 4 weeks ago. On the uppermost sheet of the stationery, their organizational symbol extends, and I contact it. They will be responsible for any forthcoming managerial duties related to restoring palms. With a furrowed forehead, father extends for the documents. In order to make a selection like this, you must engage your relatives. Sure I can. To his notice, I glide another record. For your ease, I have emphasized portion 4.3. The council must concur unanimously before any kin member can occupy a supervisory position. Myself and 2 colleagues from CHP constitute the council. Search for my aide with Deletting and notify him. Emily acquires a blush. This was intentional on your part. An enterprise choice was mine to execute. For one aspect, I've acquired from previous errors and can't detach my stare away from my sibling. I recover a dossier from my binder that includes the client grievance forms, which are all neatly archived according to the date. You labored at the medical center last warm season, therefore these are from that period. The density informs me all I require to comprehend. 2 clients concluded up in the identical therapy chamber because of 15 timetabling errors. The fraternity comrades obtained 8 of the 24 illegal reductions. A almost insurance examination was nearly activated by 31 invoicing code mistakes. My mother's digits lingered perilously near to contacting mine as she stretched across the furniture. Monica, my dear, it's ordinary to err when you're acquiring knowledge. There was no space for mistake in this respect. I gradually rise to my feet, uncovering an unforeseen fortitude in overshadowing my seated kin. Someone who thought the regulations didn't pertain to her perpetrated these careless errors. This one was also assembled by my bookkeeper, and I am extracting it. Outlined here are the 4 years' value of complimentary health care that one kin obtained, amounting $46,000. Father's shoulder joint treatment. The foot inflammation that my mother endured from. Prior to her seaside vacations, Emily obtains athletic rubs. Astonishment and immobility sweep over you like a surge of endorsement. Their countenances alter from a feeling of privilege to one of uncomfortable skepticism. I was reimbursing my learner debts while consuming noodles, so I concealed your medical necessities. For Emily's initial year of university, I invested additional periods at the medical facility eatery. I encountered my father's stare when you suggested that our learnings couldn't be financed at the identical period. When I couldn't manage lease or liability coverage, I rested on therapy surfaces. Someone has messaged me. I glance down and observe a communication from my medical center supervisor. Are they still unaware? The schedule is ideal. Now I comprehend I'm not in this solitary. In the middle of Emily's untamed warm season, my workers remained awake late to rectify her mistakes as she distributed online images from elevated gatherings. The interactions of the Hale kin are recognized to them. When I reflect on my guide's caution that kin and enterprise don't coexist, it's like lubricant and liquid. After father was incapable to participate in my medical center's magnificent inauguration, Sato detected that I was weeping in the storage cupboard and provided me a concerned glance. My postponement in heating was deliberate. I painstakingly gather all of my records and restore them to my binder in the precise order that will be needed in the occurrence that this dialogue adopts a shift for the inferior. Comparable to how I discover that intentional motion assists me unwind before a difficult client meeting when I am arranging therapy provisions. Here we may debate the particulars. The commanding tone that father utilized to possess in his tone is now more evocative of the manner he appears when an enterprise agreement is about to collapse. 22% for the experimental phase instead than 25%. My binder is rapidly sealed. Your funds isn't my sustenance, it's my medical center. Over the periods of kin conflicts, Mother has refined the dramatic action of soaring her hand to her neck. I never imagined you'd place enterprise before kin, she murmurs. The declaration suspends in the atmosphere, revealing their defective perspective. They consider that my successes are for their personal benefit. Their opportunity, not my achievement, is represented by my medical center. Enterprise will not supersede kin for me. My tone is more serene than my feelings when I reply. I'm establishing boundaries before exploiting anyone. Emily leans away from the furniture, inducing her seat to scrape the timber ground. Even though we've always been here to assist you, Monica, you've always behaved so theatrical, as if you were accountable for everything. Assisted me out. What provides me the chills is in brow elevation. For what duration is this planned? Did my father capture images of you donning my hat and robe? When I completed? When did Mother notify the physician? Patel, I was simply the on-location doctor when my medical center initially launched. The remembrances ascend to the exterior like fluid bubbles. Sudden, severe, and uncontrollable once they start to ascend. Do you recollect obtaining a greeting and a fresh cycle for my 13th anniversary, while Emily acquired a gift? Or the top student event I had in secondary school, when no one from my kin could arrive, because Emily was ill with a chill. Snapping my satchel shut, I depart. When it truly mattered, your backing was markedly absent. My father is also upright now. He used to be quite looming over me when I was a child. But now he's just elevated. Monica, you've transformed. You are now frigid dew of your triumph. No, I gaze him directly in the eyes. You have no notion what to do with an offspring who requires recognition, and my triumph has made me visible. Considering the quantity of burden I've borne for so long, I'm astonished by how light my satchel appears when I elevate it off the seat. I breathe profoundly without encountering torso ache for the initial occasion since accessing their residence. I'll manage myself. As I halt, I transfer my focus to the entrance. By the way, our standard fees will pertain to kin therapies commencing next month. Individuals who would prefer not remunerate are not qualified for our benevolence initiative. It is for individuals who genuinely cannot manage health therapy. From behind me, I can discern my mother's surprised inhalation, father's muttered profanity, and Emily's theatrical weep. However, I am comforted that their responses have not retreated to the proven strategy of conceding once again. My device signals again as I stride out into the twilight atmosphere. This time it's my medical center supervisor. You can rely on our backing. This is the initial occasion that I have ever trusted it. Remembrances overflowed back that night in my dwelling. My 13th anniversary is on an April weekday, and it's not much to commemorate other than the reality that I excelled my calculation exam and had one greeting supported up against my grain dish first thing in the dawn. After 2 weeks, Emily acquires a gleaming blue-green cycle with decorations on the grips and a woven container to contain all the valuables she discovers around town for her 11th anniversary. While our guardians applaud her every unsteady circuit around the driveway, I stand on our front veranda and observe. Capture an image of your sibling, Monica. Father, I require your assistance with this, he states, delivers me his photographic device. Something has been achieved. I incline the finder to seize a glimpse of Emily's glowing countenance, her tresses mirroring the sunlight as her father stabilizes the cycle seat. In a majestic fashion, Mother gestures a cloth as she offers farewell. I still possess the invoice for my initial cycle. After I've assisted Mother with the utensils and observed that the cooking furniture is still enveloped in anniversary pastry remnants, I question. She pauses, her cleaner suspending. Monica, you were truly a practical child. Volumes were always more attractive to you. Oh, I didn't. I had been compulsively scanning cycle directories for the past 4 years. After completing secondary school, a learner can participate in Colorado State College on a complete grant, obtain a science award, and be designated top graduate. Guardians' cradling arrangements and photographic devices fill the auditorium. Mine appeared about 7 moments after I addressed, and they glided into the positions in the rear as I returned to mine. There was dreadful congestion. After they depart without capturing anything, Mother murmurs to me, "However, tonight is Emily's performance show and we will be available. Will you be there?" Throughout college, the design reveals itself. Despite laboring 2 periods at the medical facility eatery, I am still awaiting for my academic honors credentials to arrive at our kin residence. For weeks, the sealed packets sit on the cooking counter. At last, the day has arrived for me to stand solitary following the rehabilitation school completion event while Emily delivers a gesture across the courtyard. "You possess it." Her palm grabs my headgear. "Father desires me to don this in several images. I presume it's acceptable with you." For 20 moments I stand by while my guardians position my sibling for an image with my valued hat, distinction cords, and certificate case in my ownership. "Intellectual intelligence don't construct operations, Monica," my father states later as he restores my hat, evading ocular contact with me. At midnight, 4 years after completing, with only the illumination from my workspace lamp to light the medical center, I am hunched over my portable computer. My lease is more than the monthly disbursement on the $193,000 value of obligation that gazes at me from the display screen. In the meantime, I've dispatched $1,200 to Emily to assist with her lodging circumstance, as she adapts to her 4th occupation in 2 years. Even after numerous purifications, my dwelling is still cluttered with arbitrary discoveries from the side of the street, an uneven-limbed beverage surface, and a couch that still succeeds to preserve a faint odor of its prior proprietors. The forsaken health establishment is filled with the rumble of my abdomen. From our gathering that dawn, the noise of the financial institution's supervisor's tone reverberates in my mind. "Miss Hale, we are incapable to approve this debt for corporation growth at this period without extra security or a guarantor." My guardians refuse to guarantee, but they purchased Emily a fresh vehicle a month ago, so she possesses dependable conveyance for meetings. So I nodded courteously and placed the denial letter in my bag with the others. That evening, I rested on the therapy surface. After expending 16 hours compressed into successive meetings and coverage documents, I rotate onto the sheet-enveloped synthetic and envelop myself in a client cover. In the early hours of the dawn, still grasping to calculations, the purification personnel uncovers me there. In the interval between Emily's marriage celebration and their meal booking, my guardians visit for 15 moments when Restorative Palms Rehabilitation Therapy formally launches in its personal establishment. Not simply a rented chamber in someone else's medical center, 6 months later. According to Mother, who glances at her timepiece, it's just like being at an authentic physician's workspace. My father inspects the credentials I've enclosed. Always concentrate on the individuals, not the qualifications. They exit before the concise gathering commences, spoiling my 4 individual personnel's bubbly salute and the image opportunity for the regional enterprise periodical that would have been captured after the strip slicing. For Emily, the warm season occupation she assumes helping at the reception turns out to be her worst ordeal. Her ordinary clients have their meetings delayed or annulled, while her fraternity comrades acquire illegal reductions. In the center of the evening, I unearth a pile of untreated coverage forms packed inside workspace compartments. If you inquire Emily, she'll inform you that they were truly tedious. Also, they're essentially aged people gathering government aid. They aren't necessary to be any place important. In the weeks following her exit, I personally reach each affected client to reinstitute confidence by expressing regret to them one by one. The crucial instant happens in the center of an unscheduled gathering with the local supplier agent from Azure Protection. All 4 of our previous assertion submissions were rejected by the stern-appearing female opposite my workspace. I disrupt Miss Hale's assembled denial by gliding a dossier across the workspace and state, "Your records just doesn't satisfy our criteria for." Here are the refreshed procedures that I devised using your directives in thoughts. Every therapy code has been confirmed by contrasting it to your most current guide. As she browses through the sheets, her brows curve in astonishment. "Were you the one to perform this for a length of 4 weeks each evening?" She is straightforward in her assessment. Suppliers usually just contest or abandon. After a duration of 4 days, the Coverage Corporation has finally endorsed all of our pending assertions. As information spreads about our exceptional records and outcomes, we observe an increase in doctor recommendations within a few months. After 2 fatiguing years, the initial month of gain arrives. There was this one delayed evening when I gazed at the bookkeeping program, verifying the numbers 4 times before I finally trusted them. For once, the void doesn't sense like dismissal, but rather authority. even though no one is available to participate in my delight. While I'm securing up that evening, a profound awareness strikes me. I am now extraordinarily unseen. In the backdrop, I achieved something substantial, while my kin admired Emily for her allure and broad communal network. My growing enterprise is founded on the capabilities I refined over years of independence, perseverance, exactness, and intelligent reasoning. The reality that my medical center supervisor, Tessa Quinn, rejected a much-elevated compensating occupation proposal from a medical facility to stay in the domain of restorative palms proves this contention. She informs me, ripped up the proposal letter in her palm, that they don't value individuals the way you do. I've been a medical expert for 32 years, Monica. This item you're creating is distinctive. No one on my group ever grumbles about remaining delayed to acquire food and address the accumulation when Emily's timetabling disasters induce chaos. We can manage this. Just before midnight, my main healer, Mateo, provides me some confidence. We're a group, and the reality that you're siblings is fascinating. At the beginning of our weekly personnel gathering, which occurs first thing on Friday dawn, everyone displays their victories and defeats from the prior week. Possessing a voice is significant. Unlike at kin occasions, where I was frequently disrupted or disregarded, the purification team actually heeded to me. On an ordinary weekday afternoon, the health director of Denver Recovery Center contacts. Your outcomes information has been under our scrutiny. She states, to me, 2,000 individuals without expansion. A collaboration for specialized care is something our bone department is interested in debating. Not to rearrange an pressing meeting, but to commemorate, we all assemble in the after-periods medical center that night. There are now 9 of us, up from 4 before, and we're all saluting with synthetic goblets and shop-acquired pastry. Monica, who perceived possibility where others perceived only. Restrictions is the one to whom Tessa directs her summons. After everyone has departed, I remove my initial enterprise permit out of its enclosure and gently elevate it, using my fingertips to follow the raised symbol. It will be resuspended in the bigger greeting region tomorrow by myself. A mild memento that adopting the humble path can sometimes result in unforeseen benefits. The event occurred 6 weeks ago, and now I labor in an edge workspace with a vista of the Denver horizon. However, I've rotated my workspace so that it confronts the care ground. Blake is demonstrating Mrs. Klein the activities she should perform after a cerebrovascular accident through the transparent barrier. My kin has never understood the idea of recovery, but Blake's tolerance mirrors my own objectives with each client. It is not a coincidence that our advanced care areas stand in sharp opposition to my modest workspace. Although clients should have entry to modern innovation, I've uncovered that a utilized workspace and a simple seat will suffice. We reinvest every currency conserved in regions where it counts. After last month's growth from 4 to 16 care chambers, I reaffixed the original restorative palms therapy emblem to my barrier. My device has oscillated 4 times today, each time linking me to a cluster of 16 healers who trust in client primary care as much as I do. Once again, I disregard the communication and deactivate the device, Mother. It will be the identical as the ones yesterday and the day prior. A straightforward greeting, followed by a suggestion about Emily's present occupation circumstance or in question about how the medical center operates. After I rejected their meal invitations for 7 weeks in a sequence, they began contacting me more often. We never observe you anymore, and Mother experiences phases of regret and false enterprise concerns. Do you intend to offer reductions to districts that mainly comprise of elders? Thank goodness I contacted ahead of period to clarify the circumstance, because last week my father attempted to contact my bookkeeper personally. The final trigger was yesterday, when Emily appeared in, unexpected during our most active afternoon, wielding a dossier full of wonderful promotion concepts that, for some cause, required her complete period occupation to implement. After providing her a position in the holding region and immediately summoning me, my reception supervisor, Evan, followed rigidly to procedure. I stayed completely involved in my client meeting. My countenance is heated by the afternoon illumination as I activate my portable computer and peruse the 14th version of the message I've composed, erased, and modified. It is calculated at precise and essential. As I have already stated to you, my kin, I am establishing professional limits about restorative palms therapy after much reflection and deliberation. Administration and kin members are still not permitted to labor at the medical center. Standard charges will be imposed for all therapeutic provisions. Only members of my administration group are aware to our enterprise dialogues. I am still accessible to repairing connections with you in an individual capacity, separate from our enterprise link. As the entrance to my workspace activates, Monica, I maintain my digit on the dispatch control. 2 steaming hot vessels are produced by Juno, who is the supervisor of my medical center. I was considering you might require some additional assistance, she states, positioning a Java vessel next to my portable computer. The entry on communal media captured my attention. What provides me the chills is in brow elevation. Across my workspace, Juno glides her device. You may acquire a snapshot from the initial day of my medical center's procedure 4 years ago on my mother's online profile. I now perceive that mother's unusual exhibition of evident backing, positioned by my side with her limb around my arm, was arranged. I am quite satisfied with Monica's schemes for restorative palms therapy. We've always possessed confidence in her capability to repair injuries. A dedicated parent, a kin venture. It was entered 20 moments ago, according to the indicator. I discover the label intriguing, Juno states with caution. The terms kin enterprise are disagreeable to perceive. The message is dispatched. They didn't invest a cent, didn't invest in period, and didn't believe this medical center would function until it did. The disagreement is being observed by the society, according to Juno. In his recommendation of the complex arm case last week, Physician Ahmed raised it up. Then I glance up in astonishment. The cause you constructed something authentic, not something transferred down or granted, is why he always dispatches clients here, he stated. Juno utilizes the initial enclosure of my corporation permit. He praised your collaboration and modesty, rather than your showy credentials. I recollected last Friday's personnel gathering, where I stated that the group's hard labor, not my individual vision, was the cause for our triumph. It recalls me, I comment, activating up another message, that I observed Emily's comrade Daphne in the holding region during the gathering, with her device oddly directed toward our assembly. Everything is arranged for the grant fund. 4 learners who have demonstrated monetary necessity and are seeking rehabilitation therapy will obtain assistance commencing next term. A smile extends across Juno's countenance. The instant your mother overheard us discussing about it, she labeled it a squandering benevolence. That is exactly why it is meaningful. My fatigued tissues are extended when I ascend up. Has the bookkeeper supplied any revisions on their most current question? First he utilized allure, and then he menaced you. Ultimately she exited after Diana raised up the possibility of persecution accusations. Juno's countenance alters. Another item is there. Her palm extends into her compartment and recovers a memo. During midday, your mother visited by. After I informed her you were at the child medical center, she departed. Along with my title, the packet also carries my mother's impeccable script. On the interior, smeared with droplets, are sincere pleas regarding tense connections within the kin and the necessity for my offspring. In order to repair damaged relationships, the final expression requests for a kin assembly at their location. Without uncertainty, according to their details. A text communication from Emily sounds on my device. Farewell, large sibling, shall we initiate a dialogue? No one else. Juno watches while I examine these most recent actions. The letter from your father also arrived in yesterday's correspondence, rigid and formal, suggesting kin arbitration in the presence of his attorney. When I chuckle, it's not amusing. Now things are proceeding in reverse. Worried comrades of theirs are questioning. Individuals in the society have observed that their declarations don't align up with what's occurring. Gazing out the opening, I watch 4 healers, all of whom I enlisted from disadvantaged societies, supplying superior client attention with the compassion and proficiency I had anticipated for our operation. Our prolonged care ground, which I imagined, twalled on and continued in building despite years of kin dismissal, is immersed in the afternoon sunlight. So what's the scheme? The inquiry is presented by Juno, along with other misleading kin communications that I have meticulously documented. I archive the memo away in my workspace compartment. I inform them I'll heed when they're prepared for a connection that doesn't foundation its triumph on exploiting me. Up till then, protecting my inventions is my primary concern. One of Emily's fraternity comrades who exploited unauthorized reductions last year is positioned in the holding region outside my workspace, and I identify her. She used to be privileged, but now she lingers calmly with her coverage card in palm and in demeanor of regard. The facade is crumbling. At last, after lingering 2 weeks, I arrive to Foundation Eatery 25 moments premature in the dawn, when the scent of recently prepared Java and optimism permeates the atmosphere. I have chosen an impartial conflict location with a moderate degree of ambient sound to supply seclusion without forfeiting separation. I discover a edge furniture where I can observe both accesses clearly and settle down on the seat that confronts the entrance. Repetitive behaviors originating from an existence of watching their endorsement. With its soothing mass, I position my hide binder on its support before me. Enclosed are all of the records that confirm to our entangled history, including messages, texts, and monetary archives. Proof assembled with the identical careful focus to detail that I supply to the care plans of my clients, and not out of spite. While you linger, would you prefer me to seize something? Grinning from ear to ear, the server approaches over, notepad at the prepared. I would favor my Java dark, please. Contrary to how I truly sense, my tone emerges as more dependable. Just a few instants after that, the ceramic vessel appears, with vapor ascending just like the strain in my torso. I can observe them departing the vehicle area as I glance out the opening. Emily's confident pace was weakened by her nervous glances at our guardians, while father's arms were rectangular under his sports shirt, and mother was twisting with her gem necklace. To display a unified look, they have harmonized their clothing in ivory and tan shades. They access and the chime atop the entrance sounds. Their feelings alter subtly the second they observe me. Uncle Joe's mandible tightens. Mother's smirk becomes immobilized. Emily glances at the binder in front of me with constricted eyes. My dear Monica. I remain positioned and create mother awkwardly tap my arm instead of embracing me, senses like residence. We would have favored supper at residence, my father states as he settles into the seat opposite from me. Confidential discussions about kin issues are suitable. This extends beyond an individual matter. The binder requires a pat from my digit. This is about the corporation I operate. Emily settles into the seat next to father, her aroma blending with the scent of Java. Pastries from that pastry shop you adore are here with us. A sheet container is propelled toward me by her, but I evade contacting it. Due to an absence of practice, a server arrives, acquires their request, and then vanishes. Upon her exit, father promptly tilts forward, his palms resting on the furniture. Monica, you are traversing a thin boundary. When I exceed my 18-year-old restriction, his tone returns to the compelling tone he utilized. In Enterprise, kin endures together more than any other cluster. My mother provides me a compression on the arm. My dear, we have always been extremely proud of you. My father and I boast about our incredible offspring, the healer, to everyone we encounter. Like a rehabilitation specialist, I repair things without reflecting. Emily contributes with startling accuracy that she is a healer of rehabilitation therapy, just before she commences her assembled address. By the way, I've modified my concept because contemplating on our prior debate has made me comprehend that I was too aggressive. Out of her bag, she extracts a smooth device. A collaboration based on guidance rather than administration. Enhance communal media existence. Extend to organizational customers 4 days a week. I consume my Java gradually, permitting its acrid heat to fortify me. Something is essential for you to comprehend before we discuss about any proposals. At their commemoration festivity last weekend, the Carters presented me a provocative inquiry. All 4 of us stiffen up whenever our relatives' titles are raised up. They were truly supportive of my kin collaboration and desired to comprehend when you would all be commencing labor here. Upon activating the binder, I observed a carefully organized collection of documents. When I clarified that you two weren't Enterprise collaborators, they were astonished. Blush precedes father's face. No one ever referenced it. You referenced our medical center and the kin operation in your online entries, and I possess captures of those. With your mother's reference of the kin enterprise at Card Group, I deliver him the printed sheets and the text communications from the Patels, who are questioning about it. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.